Stock markets are going up, Bitcoin ripping on fire, and gold is correcting pretty much everything I've been predicting to you. Now, let's look at the markets. Gold, big warning signs all over the place. And two winners that are the result of the gold correction. Let's talk about it. Welcome to Hot Trades of the Day, your show for swing trading ideas for the coming days, weeks, and month. Okay, well, let's start off with gold. And obviously, you see the nasty topping tail that we got yesterday. The next bearish sign. I've warned you since last week that gold is gonna top out. Today we see a follow through, and this obviously not good for gold. And let me show you why I think that the gold party is over for a while. And personally, I love it because it's only going to be over for a while. This is going to give me the time to do my research on the best gold mining stocks and then use the weakness in the gold mining stocks to build out my positions. So, I've been short-term bearish on gold. It's been the right call on Monday. I was a little early last week, but it doesn't really matter. We're never going to hit the absolute top. We just want to be at the top area, and then we'll see where we go from here. Right now, what are the resistance? My target zone is this zone right here around 3050. First zone where you're probably going to get a rebound is around 3150. But I want to show you something. You see on the daily RSI, we have, it's not a negative divergence, but it's more like a neutral divergence, where you can see here, let me mark this for you. This is the top of the RSI. We never went over it in the past days. So we basically went flat, but as you can see, the gold price ripped. So this is a warning sign that's now playing out. The gold price is going down. As you can see in the RSI, it cut through the average. The last time we had the RSI cut through the average when it was that overextended was right here. What happened? Correction. And we had it over here. What happened? Minor correction. So what happened here? Big time correction. So this is a warning sign on the daily, but on the weekly you see even better what I mean. And I'm going to go out all the way to 2019. So this is a long time. Okay. And as you can see, the RSI on the weekly is massively overbought around like 80, 60. And I marked here the last 4 times since 2019 when the market was, when the RSI of gold was this high. And then in the yellow parts in the chart, you see what happened afterwards. So we had it October 24. The market went up a little bit further, big correction. Then we had it here, April 24. Little further, big correction. 2020, August, massive correction phase. And then August 2019, this is more of a consolidation phase. This is more likely. A scenario like this is way more likely than something like this. Why is this? Because we have the central banks around the world as buyers. As I told you before, they don't care if they pay $20 or $30 more per ounce. This is a geostrategical play they are doing. But short term, the gold rally is over. I mean, look at this candle on the weekly. And granted, the week is not over yet, right? It can change. But if this holds or turns red, whew, major, major warning sign in the market. And we know now what happened in the past when the RSI was that overbought. So who's the big winner? Well, Bitcoin is the big winner. I told you this on Monday. If you got in on Monday, you made a great trade. Now, Bitcoin has completely changed and it's looking way better. Let me clean this up here for you real quick. Way better. We have a trend reversal on Bitcoin. With yesterday, we broke through this now resistance zone used to be support. Remember, this was a big zone all winter, and basically before the real turn down in the markets, this was the support zone that held up like a champion. 200-day moving average broke right above it. So what do I expect with Bitcoin? I can see short term coming back to around this area down here, 89,000. And that's where you want to get long. It's a new Bitcoin market. Bitcoin has decoupled from the stock market, but if risk comes back into the market, it's going to float, obviously, into Bitcoin and the cryptos as well. So that's the first winner. And no, a lot of you do not like Bitcoin, don't believe in digital gold, but you need to be open-minded. If you can't adapt to new scenarios, the stock market will crush you. Let's take a look at the dollar. Important, right? I told you we need to look at the dollar. What are we seeing here? Okay, we're seeing, it's trying to form a little bit of a bottom down here at this last defense line that I've shown you before, right? I've shown you this before. This is the last defense line. This needs to hold for the dollar bulls. Otherwise, it is game over for the dollar for a hot minute. And you see, we're fighting. We're fighting with this line. If we stabilize the dollar, if the dollar rebounds, then gold will sell off further. Now, it's important to understand that at this moment, right now in the markets, the surprises are on the upside, meaning the markets, the dollar, nobody's factoring in positive news on the tariff front. What if the Fed lowers the interest rates? That's not in the market. Either one is going to lead to 6, 7, 8% jumps in the stock market. That's why you do not want to be short in this time right now. This is either you're going to be long or you're going to wait it out. This is not a short market in the equity market. Now, gold miners, there are certain gold miners that you could put a short on because a lot of them are clearly building out topping formations, but that's about it. Now, the trade that I find more interesting is gold, which we know rallied like a madman in April and basically all year, and silver, which has gone up, but not nearly as much, had a massive sell-off, has not even eclipsed the highs from March. Now, we know that the gold-silver ratio has reached almost historic heights. The gold-silver ratio is a very popular measurement in the commodity sector to understand how cheap or expensive gold and silver are. It basically states how many ounces of silver do you need to buy 1 ounce of gold. And right now we have reached historic heights in the gold-silver ratio, meaning the number of ounces you need of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold is as high as we have rarely seen it in history. And when we talk about the precious metals, that goes back a long way. So what does that mean? We know that this gap, this performance gap between gold and silver has to close at some point. There are obviously two ways how that can happen. Silver price goes up dramatically or gold comes down. But maybe it's both. Maybe it's gold is coming back and silver is moving up. And the move for this could be that there are going to be positive news on the tariffs. There are going to be major stimulus in the markets. I mean, the Chinese are already stimulating like there's no tomorrow. And we know silver as an industrial metal would profit from this. Gold does not. So that's why I am shifting my focus to silver and to silver mining stocks. I would not short the silver mining stocks right now, even though they're traditionally more volatile than the gold stocks. I would look to buy those on weakness. I think silver is holding up way better, as you can see in the past days, than gold. That is a sign of relative strength, which makes sense because of the economic use of silver. So look at silver. If we get signals, we're trying, as you can see, we're trying to reestablish ourselves above this massive historical resistance zone that I've shown you for a month, that you are familiar with, right? You know this goes back all the way to 2011. We broke above it once in 2024, bull trap went down. We broke above it in March, couldn't hold it because of the sell-off, the general sell-off in the markets. Now we're trying to reclaim it. We already have reclaimed this uptrend, the 2024, since 2024. That's positive. So we want to watch silver like a hawk. This could be, besides Bitcoin, the next big opportunity in the precious metal sector. I will like the silver producers as well in this scenario. And obviously, as I told you, Bitcoin long in a correction down to 89,000. That's it for today. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.